This is Comic Burrito, a podcast. I'm Todd,
I'm Cole.
I'm Nick.
and we are talking our pull list this week. Yeah, this week
week
in
of
comics.
July 8th.
Speaking comics.
Bow, 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 bow.
Well, I guess now it's July 9th.
This what?
Well, people watching it now, it's July 9th, but
Yeah.
One day
release
after
date-
we got
the
new
release date
comics,
is July.
we're bringing this to you.
Yeah.
Or possibly
You gotta read it.
3 to 4 days after when you're watching it.
maybe, yeah, who knows? It could be like the year 2055
When YouTube is running everything.
when
Yeah.
YouTube is president.
Yes.
President YouTube.
President YouTube and Vice President TikTok.
Or just Google. I mean, I guess it would
Well, I gotta.
That's true.
same thing. But all right, I'll start it off since I have the A
Do it.
book with
Hey.
Adventure Man #2.
Yeah.
I got
This
that one
is-
too.
If you guys had watched our top number ones of quarantine, Adventure Man was my top number one. So seeing the second issue, I really enjoyed. I liked that we know enough about what's happening, but not really quite anything that's actually happening yet.
Right. I like it.
Um,
I was pretty cool on it. and
I
it's-
love it.
Yeah. I loved the last panel when
Mhm.
like if you've read the book you know, but it's like kind of a funny thing where you're just like there's a big thing that's throughout this book. My favorite line of this book is what the butts, because I'm assuming, and I mean it's hard for me to pick these things up because I don't read stuff in like the YA category, but I think this book is supposed to be like at least teeny.
Mhm.
Like I mean
It's
I would
like
assume.
an E for everyone book.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it is an E for everyone. I
Yeah,
forgot you
it's
said that.
everybody. Yeah.
So I just love that. Like, what the butt? I think there was one time when she said, "What the f,"
Mhm.
and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
But it's it's like Shrek jokes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I very much enjoyed that one too. It was good.
Yeah,
think
and I
it's gonna
loved.
it's gonna be my next book where like I think I don't like it, and then it's the same as like Sonata and a few others where I always like when I pick up the book it ends up on the bottom of the pile, and then like on Friday I finally get to it and I read it and it's like, "Oh, why did I wait?" But I do that every time. Yeah. Good
Yeah, it's
pick.
great and it had a great ending to it, which is
Yeah,
really
Fraction did
amazing.
something very cool in the ending. So
Fraction and the
Well,
whole
Flash-
Adventure Man
yeah.
team. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was really it's very powerful stuff at the end, which is really cool. It has nothing to do with the actual comic. It has to do with what's going on in the world today, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
You read me next?
Sure.
yeah,
Clockwise.
Okay. I was waiting for this one for a few weeks, and I actually kind of forgot about it a little bit, and then I got there and it was like, oh yeah. But Mr. Tom Taylor did another deceased thing, and I have been buying all of the hard copies that I can get of the movie variants, and this is just easily one of the best ones that they've done with the Blade Runner cover.
Mhm.
It's just beautiful, and the book is phenomenal. It's still the whole story thing is going strong with the anti-life equation, zombie. If you like Injustice and all those things where it's not canon, and you can just do crazy wild things, and he can kill anyone that he wants and no one is safe, and it's doing really well, and you should be buying that book. So that is easy pick for my first pick of the week.
is that the space one?
Space one.
Wasn't there a space one? People in space and deceased. Am I making this up? Am I going weird?
I mean, there are like Green Lanterns, and it's everything. It is all of DC Universe, multiverse, everything. In this issue, I don't know if it's a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. The Earth 2 is pretty heavy in this.
Okay. Well, I just know. I know
that's
the
not a
original
spoiler.
one was the good guys. The Unkillables was the bad guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then what? I thought that there was one that was in space. That one might have been digital only.
Digital only is Hope at World's End,
Yeah,
which is
Hope at
also
World's End,
phenomenal. That was a hard one not to pick because I think it was the 4th issue this week. And that one, the 4th issue has some Alfred Damien stuff that is just beautiful. Not only Alfred Damien stuff, but Superman Damien stuff that is just some of the most touching Batman Superman stuff you will ever read. It is Superman, some of my favorite Superman ever. It's so good,
and it's not real.
They're $1. So right now for $4, you could buy all 4 issues, and it would definitely help if you've read other deceased stuff for sure, because this is kind of like background story. If you're reading the other story, this is kind of telling you how a few things happened, and it's really good though. He's bringing it in all together for sure.
Because I think I read the least amount of Tom Taylor, but I feel like when he writes like kid stuff, like a kid talking to an adult, like that Spider-Man issue, man, that made me cry.
Yeah, this was very close to making me cry, and I was like at work, like with people around me and things, and it was like,
I love the weird cry at work while reading comic books. Like, what are you doing? Reading comics and crying?
Yeah,
don't judge me.
Yeah, whatever.
It's sad.
So, but yeah, so that's me.
Keeping with the A theme.
Bam.
Alienated, which this is mirrored, but that says alienated, not Daniela. Alienated. This was a heavy issue. It may be one of the heaviest issues of a comic book I've read in a long time. I got torn up from it. I'm really glad it was the last comic I read today. It was wildly intense, incredibly raw, and not at all what I expected. It was really good. I mean, it's a punch in the gut, amazing, but wow, is it heavy? It's not for the faint of heart. I don't really want to put what the trigger would be with it. If you're concerned, go to like the last page, and there's actually like a thing that wouldn't be a spoiler attached to it. But it's really heavy, but it's really good, and it's really well done. I think the series is incredible. And what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I have not read this issue because when I asked in our group chat, what should I read so that I know what to talk about, this was one of the books that was not included in that list. So, but the 3rd issue, man, I remember like one day you were just like, I need something light. And I was like, man, Alienated is pretty good. And this 3rd issue is coming out. And then that 3rd issue came out and I read it and I was like, I'm sorry, Todd. That took a turn for different because it got serious. And I like that this book is working that way, where it can be so light in the beginning and now give you these emotional things. So I'm excited to check out this issue.
3rd issue's got nothing on issue 4.
So
which still seems crazy.
I have been the one that has been trying to not buy this book, but I also, every week that I go, I flip through the shelf, and I'm keeping track. And like today, it was like they're down to 2 copies of issue 1, right? So I was really close today.
You should get
and
that.
While Todd was talking,
at least just get the first.
Well, no, but while Todd was talking, I looked like I wasn't listening, but I was actually typing to Comic Signal to let them know to just grab those.
Just grab that, put
Maybe
that
I'll
in there.
I'll fight with my wife later.
I'll be in at lunchtime. That's a good enough review for me at least. That I'll take them, and I think they had a Virgin variant for number 1 or number 2, so I might snag that.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, 1 and 2. Much more lighthearted, still pretty deep. It feels much more like a teen drama type thing. But the 3 or 4, all of a sudden, it's an adult book. All of a sudden, like it's very mature. It's very real. It's still about teens and still teen subject matter, but it's very heavy. And I still would recommend it for every teen. It doesn't all of a sudden become an M book. It just stops being so young adult, and it becomes just like people, like just adults. So young adults can get a lot out of it. But then so can adults, because there's just some pretty intense subject matter. So yeah,
Nice.
that's my first one.
So
That's
my
a good one.
second
Are we
book,
going back to Cole? Going back to Cole.
Yeah, Cool time.
Doom
Patrol.
Patrol, Way to
Doom
the World.
Patrol.
So I think the only person reading this book.
Yes.
Yep.
This is DC's Young Animal, which is Gerard Way, which if you know My Chemical Romance, he wrote also like Umbrella Academy. It's his thing. I loved his original Doom Patrol run. This Way to the World. I wish that I reread all the other issues because I kind of assumed that the 6th issue was the end of a volume and that this was the start of a new one. But this is the end of the of this Weight of the World. So I was definitely, if you read the synopsis, you would have known that. But if you know anything about me, I don't do that. So this was very
I don't know why you don't do it.
Yeah. This is, well, I mean, for a book that I'm going to read, if I'm pulling it, I don't check them out because I'll
I mean, I
read
get
it.
that, but like, yeah, to pull a new one or something.
Yeah.
So you got Justice Leagued with the Snyder
Yeah.
thing with me when I was just like, oh, this isn't Snyder and this is just done. Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Except it's the whole series.
But it was good. But you liked it.
You're happy with it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's sad. I mean, without getting it too much spoilery, I don't know if they're gonna continue making this book or not. So they could. I love Doom Patrol, and I will get any Doom. Like Doom Patrol is a thing that is just always being pulled. Moon Knight is the same way. So I don't care who writes it, I'll read it. But it might be over, which is kind of bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand those feelings. There's been times when there's just those things that you pull, and all of a sudden they just pull the rug out from under you, and you're left with not much.
Yeah, I mean, like the last Moon Knight run was Max Bemis, the singer of Say Anything. So let's just talk about weird emo bands for a second. Or just go to Nick.
That's
go to me?
That's Cole's favorite. All Cole's favorite comics are emo band frontmen doing comics.
Which is weird because I never really liked My Chemical Romance.
Well, now you do. Oh, dang! Look at that's a cool cover.
My second pick is not this awesome variant cover for Batman 94, which is the finale for their Dark Designs, and it was very good. It was very good. However,
was it very good?
I cannot
there we go.
Stop going on Flash. It's just like I keep waiting for it to plateau or anything, and every time I hit the last page on Flash, it's like, all right, now I gotta wait 2 more weeks. And Legion of Zoom Part 1.
Kind of a spoiler just in that, but okay.
It's going down, is it?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to be completely honest because all these other characters were from the last issue. I mean, I guess it's
dope
you know,
too. But
and you saw him pulling them out.
That cover's awesome.
Because like while reading
in hike.
Cool. That's dope. That looks great.
It's so good.
If that lightning was
if that basic boy cover.
That's me. That's me.
That's what I'm getting. It's got the dudes we were talking about holding Flash.
Make-A-Wish boys, right? Is that what that says, right?
It's Make-A-Wish boys. So it's got Trickster, Commander Cole,
and they're pulling on
Turtle.
Flash's limbs.
Yeah,
it's a classic Flash cover. I do love that A cover because that's like he's getting pulled apart by the villains. It's like, that's so good.
Very good.
Well, and that was the thing. I kind of almost forgot about all these villains because the beginning of this book is kind of like very like slicey lifey, like just Barry being a dude.
Yeah, but like the similarities between these two right now also
is that one's really good.
So basically both the Flash and Batman right now are just dealing with like their rogues galleries, which arguably these two have the best. Fair.
But I don't even know if Batman's dealing with it, besides maybe like his pinnacle rogue. He's not dealing with like a lot of the other
Dark Designs is a bunch of
Dark Designs was.
Yeah, Dark Designs.
Let's not get too. Let's.
Yeah, I mean, without getting spoilery,
let's back it up.
Flash is fighting all his bad guys. It's going down. Jump on Williamson's. The best jumping on point
is number one.
#1, which is like 90 issues ago. So just go buy all 90
Go
issues.
back. Rebirth #1. That's where
Rebirth
you want to
#1.
start.
And then Flash
And then
#1.
Flash 1.
And you'll get here, and it's worth every penny. It's worth every penny. It's so good.
You also have to
It's
get
so funny, but
Rebirth
it's so
Flash
true.
#1.
Yes.
Yeah, Rebirth Flash #1.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Well,
Yeah.
Rebirth
Well,
#1.
Rebirth
With
Flash
Flash
#1.
#1.
Flash
Or-
1 through 80 something, and then like the
Oh, and then
700.
Don't forget to
This is-
grab
this is
Flash Forward while you're at
757.
it.
Skip Flash forward.
Yeah. Oh, and probably Heroes in Crisis would be
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Maybe some Snyder Justice League.
Oh yeah, the Snyder Justice League would be smart. So what?
Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, dude. So what? 150-ish comics, and you're all set.
Yeah.
It looks like the first 15 issues of Titan when Wally was hanging out.
Smart. Yeah.
There just
Yeah,
isn't
good
really
point.
a whole lot of dips though the whole time. Like that's just the truth of it. This is, I think that like 20, 30 years from now, the way that people talk about Mark Waid's Flash, I really think that Williamson's gonna have a similar recognition for his writing of Barry.
Yeah.
During Rebirth. It's just
I think
it's that caliber.
he's starting to own the character. It's starting to become
Yeah.
his. Like he's getting to that level where it's like, oh, it's Williamson's Flash. Like that version
it's
of
easily
Flash.
I think it's easily probably the strongest overall DC book for just in length and girth and
Girth. I mean, before I hung out with you guys, I would read like 20 issues at a time, but now I have to be current. So Todd's going to talk about his.
Todd's hiding.
It is not.
Is it going to be easy for us to see?
Yes. Maybe. I don't know. I have a feeling you'll get it. Something is killing the children. Dear God. Hey, look at that. You went with that cover?
Oh, that's weird.
So the variant covers are now incentive only.
Oh, because
So-
that variant cover screamed Nick.
Yeah. Well, it's also
I'm really,
30.
really disappointed that the variant covers are now you have to order 25 to get one.
Whoa, that's a lot.
I think it's 20. Maybe it's 10 to 1.
Either-
but either
either
way,
way,
our
that's
shop is not
Not gonna
getting
have that
them.
many. Yeah.
So did anyone
This-
remember Year of the Villains?
Yes.
It's like 25-cent issue.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
think that one had a 100 variant, and I almost considered buying 100 issues just to
quarter.
get it.
For
Yeah, well, 'cause it's at a
$25.
quarter, so I'm spending $25. Like, you just sell those books for a quarter. You keep that money, but I want this one variant and one normal.
I would have done it and been like, give these out for free. Anybody that wants them.
Yeah.
Well,
But
sell 'em,
anyways-
let them make money.
But
sorry,
anyways, so something is killing the children, which is terrible in title alone. Whereas the book itself is incredible. I dipped a little bit on the last issue. I cooled a little bit on it. This one got me back going. I'm
I feel
excited
like I loved
again.
the end of that last issue.
No, which was fine,
You
but
can see more
yes, which was
into
nice.
the world.
But this issue, I really liked what they did with it. Oh my god, yeah, so good.
It's my favorite page of the book.
It's so good.
Every issue, it just reminds me of like a what is it, like CSI show or something where it like just like
Boom.
like goes black.
Oh,
and
boom.
It's Law
like,
and
I can
Order.
just see it. Netflix. I know the higher ups at Netflix are watching this right now,
Yeah,
and this
Obviously.
is so easy to do.
yeah.
If you
So
don't,
easy to
you're
do.
wrong.
So yeah, I'm back in. I was really excited. I wasn't worried about the last issue that I would also be cool on the book. But this issue, I'm definitely ramping back up into it. It ended really great. I was really into the ending of this episode. I hate you, Cole.
Love you guys.
Embrace it.
The ending of this issue. If you somehow are still not into it, which is apparently a thing, I do not understand how it's still something that's not as like big as I think it should be. Get on it, because it's just at 8. We're not that far in. We're good. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing it might
Grab
be
the
hard
trade.
to get those first issues.
yeah, no, grab the trade and then get on the boat.
That's what I did. That's all, because Nick kept talking about it, and I was like, fine, I'll throw you a bone.
It's really good.
So
and then you bought the
I was-
comic.
Yeah. And then so I was reading this, and I think there's I forget what the boy's name is, but I assume it's like Jane Tynan is like himself as a kid. Oh, it is James.
Yeah, it's James.
That's why I assume that it's him. So
Yeah.
my daughter, I'm reading it, and she's like, "Snuggle, Daddy." I put her on my lap. She points at him, and she goes, "Terry," and I was like, I know no one named Terry unless she's walked into me watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. My mom's best friend's name is Terry, but my daughter hasn't met her. But like, I was just like, why did you call this person Terry?
That's
Sorry,
very specific.
That's
That's
sure she wasn't
funny.
saying scary.
It was the point when he's in like a bed talking to a policeman. So pretty unscary.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, the art is slightly eerie and dark,
Sure.
so maybe.
Great
but
art.
she said Terry, and I said, "Who's Terry?" And she said Terry, and pointed at the kid.
Well, there you go.
So I said,
She finds him scary.
Yeah.
Scary
Maybe
Terry.
She thinks it looks like Terry.
But yeah, no, pick up something that's killing the children because it's awesome. SITC, something's killing the children.
"Yeah, I'm really sad that I'm not at my desk because I would put my bandana over my
SIKTC.
face."
Mine's
Yeah.
Oh, I moved locations. It's not by me
Mine is like
anymore.
right up there. I can like see it, but can't reach it. So
That's okay. Cole, your
All
final
right,
book.
third one,
Lois Lane 12.
the finale.
I love this book.
Mhm.
It was great. The 12th issue wasn't as good as like some of the others, but like it was a great maxi story, and I think that everyone needs to go back and check that book out.
I thought you were just gonna be like, it was good, and then just put it in the bin. I thought you were.
No,
done.
I mean I loved it.
It's-
Like that as a maxi, like
I haven't read that one
in the
yet.
most recent maxi issues that have came out with like DC, I would say like put this under like Mr. Miracle. I mean,
For
this
you,
is
that's
like
a big deal.
this is female
If
detectiving,
Todd
and
said
it's
that, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I love this. I
So
mean,
it's-
like Greg Rucka knows how to make, I think, a strong female like detective. I mean, Lois Lane is a reporter, not a detective. But same sort of thing.
It's a detective. It's a detective
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing a lot of detectiving. It's got the
Detective.
Question, but it's what is it, Montoya?
Montoya, yeah.
It's, I mean, obviously
Which I love
Superman is
Montoya.
in this book. Yeah, there's,
Spoilers.
I mean, it's a Lois Lane book. If Superman's not in it, we're doing it wrong.
Right.
Are they
But
are they starting to hit on DC Universe yet?
No. They'll be
well,
close.
there's 12 issues,
They'll be
so I
close.
would assume the first 6, if it's 6 months back,
Mhm.
should be
It's
on
a
there.
year, I think.
I thought it was a year.
Oh,
too,
it's a
so,
year?
So it'll just be getting on soon.
You'll
Just
start
reading
being
it,
able
so
to,
I'll
yeah.
Just
But
start reading it soon.
Did lockdown slow it down
But
at all?
Oh yeah, it could.
So
it could be
there could already
Oh,
be
yeah,
one,
yeah.
there could be 1 or 2 already on it.
there's probably 2 or 3 on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally look on this computer in front of me, but I'm too busy.
I think
talking
we
to my
should.
boys.
I think we should speculate wildly instead.
Yeah.
So, Nick, if you want to go into your book,
Yeah,
I can
you'll find
actually
out.
look that up
There we
for
go.
you and come back to it.
Number 3.
My final pick.
I haven't
is a
read.
book.
I haven't read Lois Lane 12 yet, but I'm really
It
excited.
is a book.
It's
that I
a great
picked,
story.
is a book that I believe I picked 2 weeks ago, and then last week I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. I still think I like this, but I'm not really sure what's happening. But I think I'm definitely still into this because it's still kind of cool, and maybe like when it finishes, it'll all make sense and be like, whoa. But this week, it still maybe wasn't sure what was happening, but it was a lot of fun to read. And it is Grant Morrison's Green Lantern #5 was my favorite book. It's just one of those books that I was reading with a big smile on my face the whole time. And it's just this crazy, colorful, it has some like 60s coloring and like the little dots and stuff from old comic strips. And it is so weird. And I don't know, because I don't know tons of old stuff, especially Green Lantern and stuff. So I don't know, Todd, if this guy is like an established character
Yeah,
or if it's something new or weird.
See, that's the thing. It's been so long since I went through the really old stuff. A lot of the times he's pulling either from something that's happened or he is coming up with new canon.
Hyperman.
But it's a Hyperman.
Hyperman.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Hyperman's a thing.
Okay, yeah. He's like a weird Superman
type character
thing, but it's like
Yeah.
each page
It's
so
good.
like
It's
normally
so
you have
good.
panels and it's all like white on the outside of the panels and stuff, and this one has all these weird color gradients and stuff going through the background, and it's just I mean, even if you couldn't read, I would tell you to get this book because it's and
That's
don't even
why
know
I
who's
like it.
doing the- Sharp, I think, is doing the art. And just like on issue 3, which was blowing me away on the art, this one did that as well in a completely new and different way, which is one of the reasons I'm really enjoying.
Hyperman might be
Superman is the son of Superman and Wonder Woman in Kingdom Come.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, I know he's been in something.
Yeah, and season 1 was phenomenal. Black Stars was phenomenal.
Mhm.
Something about season 2 is just
It's wild.
it's a
It's
whole nother
wild.
level of,
Man,
yeah,
I brought Black Stars down to read it before I jumped into season 2, and then
Black
I
Stars-
left it in my office for a while. I should just bring it back upstairs for maybe this Saturday to read.
So reading this makes me want to go get season 1 and Black Stars back out and because I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think I will, but it's worth rereading again.
Yeah.
If-
So good.
This is like if Hickman decided to be even more obtuse. If
Yeah,
Hickman was like, I don't even want you to have a shot at understanding. It's
I mean,
so it's
that was
more.
that was the last issue. This one I feel like I
It's-
followed it pretty good.
You can follow it if you are just okay with, like, you need to get stuff from context. You're not going to understand things. It does at least have a story that is, okay, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. You can get a story out of it,
yeah,
but there's
dialogue
just
is still
weird
but
stuff.
You told me with issue 4, it was like, hey, just go in knowing that you're not gonna really know what's going on.
It helps
and
so
just
much.
try to enjoy yourself. And it was like, okay, and I did that with this one, and it works flawlessly.
Yep, you just
Easy
have to.
pick. I would
read
say
it.
number 1. We don't try to. Or I guess we don't try to really list like 1, 2, 3. I will. This was my favorite book of my pull list once again. Green Lantern.
Have you read
number 1.
everything though?
The only ones I have not read are Finger Guns number 3 and Sonata number 11.
I haven't read.
Those are-
Which is
I
sitting
haven't-
at the bottom of your poll list.
I haven't read those either yet.
Yeah.
But Sonata's cover.
Sonata's,
Look at that
Sonata's,
cover.
like I said
I
that earlier,
almost-
that's the book that I always read
Yeah,
this one
me
last,
too.
and when I read it last, I'm like, why did I wait?
I'm usually a couple behind on it, and then I'm like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
I still have this many to read,
And I feel like
but
nobody's
let
talking
Todd
about
go.
it. All right, so Todd's final.
But that's Finger Gun, the other one.
There's the other cover.
Finger guns. Okay, so I've talked about this book before. I've spoken of my love. It was one of my top number ones of quarantine.
Which we
John
might as well
Adams'
just
Reflection
leave
in Green
that
Lantern.
down because 2 of us have had ours in
That's
here.
true. And it has kept up with my expectations. It's not as twist heavy as that first one was, obviously, but then after that they've really picked up the ball and kept the strong story going. Stealth.
Oh, you
There's
skipped
the
that,
creators.
okay.
There's the creators.
Man, I almost just bought this issue today
It's
because
good. This
Well,
is
so
so
I
solid.
told you-
Everyone's cold on it. I don't
Hey.
see anything about it, and I
I
think
told
it's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, they had number 1. I was going to tell you they only have number 1, but
Yeah.
I told you that my shop I picked up Sex Criminals, and I talk about this in depth in like most of our like streams, but I couldn't get issue 29 because they had an issue with ordering it because of COVID. They think that was the first issue that came out afterwards. Diamond kind of held on to them because they told me today they could order it, but they couldn't get it because it was sold out, and I didn't add it soon enough that they could order it for me. So I ordered that from Midtown, but to make shipping worth it, I got Stealth 1 and 2. That's where this long story is going.
You said 29.
So I was like,
We're gonna edit all that out.
Sex Criminal 29.
oh, I'm like Stealth's on 3.
Yeah. So I ordered the first 2
You
issues
bought
of
something
Stealth
else.
because you recommended it, but I looked at the shop. They had like 6 issues of Stealth 3 on the rack.
Yeah.
I was like, I
You
don't
shoulda
know if
got
this
it.
book is moving,
You should have
but
gotten
like,
it.
I'll read the first 2 to make sure. Well, who knows? Maybe I can get 3 and 4 at the same time and just boom, 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 boom.
Look
Because it's
at,
a what, 5 issues or is it 6 issues?
I think it's 5. Yeah.
5.
Pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
I
It's five.
Nick
thought I
said
heard
5.
originally it was 6, but
It
I
might be.
thought
I
I
don't
heard
know.
also it
But,
was
like,
5.
I think it was 5 because that was one that I was
Look
like,
at that.
ooh.
Look at that.
I love it.
That's
And when
so
you
good.
showed
I'm
the
very
art
excited.
on our streams, I love like it's very realistic
And
cartoon.
here's the last panel. I'm just kidding.
It's a dude's butt.
Yeah.
What the butt?
But then even like the like look at just like the credits page.
Yeah, I mean that's a sweet. Yeah.
oh
That's a
man,
sweet
that's
page.
such a good splash page right there. It's so good. I'm getting the. I really hope that they have a hardcover of this. I'm really into it, and I need to use Twitter more so I can at least get it
Yeah.
out there. I don't do
5
social media very much.
issues seems
It's-
hard, I think, but I don't know.
I can see going at.
It's a
3 with
collective
2.
thing, so it
Yeah.
might be pretty easy to 2.
Yeah. But yeah, highly recommend. It's awesome. It's
So
really
you
fun.
Go through your go. Is
Yeah,
that all?
let's-
Is that all of them?
that's
So
3.
what was your 3?
For me, I had Adventure Man, Lois Lane, and Doom Patrol: Way to the World. I probably would have talked about Detective Comics number
Yeah, but
1000 something. 1023 is the best Batman comic that I've read so far today.
All right. Well, and then
Agreed.
I went Flash 757, Deceased Dead Planet 1, and Green Lantern 5. And then Todd had what?
Alienated 4. I'm Alienated 4. Fantastic. Trigger warning. You could just Google Alienated 4 trigger warning if you want to be concerned about that because it is incredibly heavy. Something is killing the
Those children.
8.
Something's killing those kids.
Something's killing
Wait,
the children
no.
8. And then Image Comics, Skybound, Stealth number 3.
3.
So this is our first This Week in Comics.
This week in comics.
But I'm so sorry that I
Bless
sneezed
you.
there. This is the only time I
That was
think that
awesome.
I have picked just as many, if not more, DC books as everyone else. Because usually you're
Mine were
included
all
on the
DC.
DC. Yeah. I picked 2, you had 0.
I say I'm at goose egg, yo.
Right. That's why I'm saying, like, I picked just as many or
This is-
even.
Yeah.
Where
This is
normally
where-
you're pretty
I mean,
DC
technically
heavy. I'm pretty
technically
like.
I picked 4 DC. You know what though? I get 4 DC books, and it's all this week. So this is
I
like
got
my favorite.
I got
week of the month.
those. Just saying, I got
Yeah,
those.
I know
We're
but
different
this is
people.
my favorite week of the month because that's just those are my
Yeah.
DC books, and that's just
What's
my.
What's
home.
funny is I would probably put Detective Comics ranked 2 in yours. If you got Detective Comics, I would put it right below Flash.
It's
And
one that I
these
know
are-
I should be getting, and I never have.
Yeah.
These are the DC books I haven't read this week.
This
This is a very big week for me.
Justice League was a thing too. That was a good.
Yeah.
That was a good issue.
I did get Green Lantern, but I'm behind. This Batman adventure continues. And, I mean, I'm the only one maybe Todd reads this, Young Justice? I don't know.
I don't get
Bendis,
it.
people hate him, but I think Young Justice is the best book he's probably had at DC.
Justice League
I
went.
officially dropped Justice League today.
Justice
I
League
officially-
went a.
I thought you dropped it
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Justice League felt
I
like
kind of been iffy.
Justice
They've been,
League
like,
felt.
holding copies for me.
It felt like Morrison's Green Lantern this week.
Justice
Fine.
League, I
I'm
think
I'm just saying,
I
I
need-
liked it.
I need
When
to
we get
take a
when
break.
we get a reboot, I'm back in. But I'm tired of the shuffle of the thing. I'm not gonna. When there's a reboot, I'll jump back in on it.
Sure.
But for now, I'm
I
I
can't
needed
not.
a few
It's
weeks
been
off, but I
through-
love this stuff.
Yeah, I've been.
But this is
Yeah.
Cy Spurrier, right? That's writing it.
Mhm.
Who wrote
Yeah.
Alienated?
Yeah, who alienated? Yeah, exactly. What? Yeah, I think so. But yeah,
What?
solid list, yo.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's 9 comics you should go buy.
Yeah,
Hey,
which you
and if
probably
you see
already
this
did. Yeah, it's Burrito.
and you want to hear
yeah.
us talk about a lot more of these comics, maybe check us out on Saturday at like 10 p.m. Eastern. We might be doing a live stream. Maybe we'll talk about some of these books a little bit more in depth. Maybe we'll talk about the other ones we didn't cover. We read, like I showed, I mean, that's my DC book, and I still have like 7 more books. I had a big week.
Yeah, I still have Batman, Detective Comics, Justice League, Green Lantern, and The Flash that I didn't put on my pull list or on my list.
You guys jump in the comments and tell us what you think about those books too.
Exactly.
Oh, and also, what is your favorite book this week?
Yeah, what was your favorite pull?
Lane on your recommendation, Cole, and you owe me $4.
There we go.
I'm not necessarily saying these are recommendations. I'm saying I liked them. If you're watching this video and you haven't seen enough about us.
No, I'm saying you should buy the 3 books that I recommended, and if you don't like them, you're wrong.
I've read all of them except for Green Lantern.
So
or maybe you just don't like the same things I do.
Make sure to tell a friend. Make sure to share, like, comment your favorite poll list.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell, and thanks for getting wrapped up with us. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
I'm Nick.
And this was This Week in Comics.
Comic Burrito Podcast.
Have anything to do with my hands.
Bye.
Finger guns.